Mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi. Dave Hughes here. And joining us now, you want to know something about politics? This is the gentleman to talk to. He is the Vice President for Strategic Communications and Director of Public Affairs at Mississippi State University. One of our favorite guests, Sid Salter, joins us. Sid, how you doing this morning, sir?
I'm well, Dave.
Now, yesterday was a big day. We finally got to seemingly the end of this process and got an income tax reduction plan passed. Talk about that for a minute. Tell me your impressions of what happened and how it happened.
Well, I think from a big picture standpoint, the income tax question has been rather testy between the House and Senate. Both chambers having strong opinions about the correct approach. The House, along with Governor Reeves, wanted a full elimination of the income tax and wanted it as quickly as possible. The Senate wanted a more measured approach that didn't progress as quickly. I think the uncertainty in Washington, D.C., the interruption of the flow of some federal funds to Mississippi, and I think people forget sometimes what a tremendous amount of dependence Mississippi has on federal funds, and so when that flow of funds gets interrupted, it does give state government pause about operating moving forward. So I think that helped to bring the two chambers together. They passed, both chambers passed what appears to me to be a very measured, reasonable approach to eventual full elimination of the income tax, which is something that the Republican majority in both chambers have wanted. They've just disagreed over the speed with it. Now, as to the bill and what transpired late yesterday, I heard y'all talking earlier this morning about what do they do. Well, they fix it because the legislature operates through the bills they actually pass, the language in the bill. And so it's a very literal process. So if those decimal points don't get moved, then we operate under the decimal points that are there. So they will have to fix it. That opens up the possibility of additional negotiation, and there'll very likely be some Hail Marys from both sides at the end. But I think generally you're looking at the version of the bill that will go to Governor Reeves, and I expect that he will sign it. I think it's particularly given what's going on in Washington, I think this is a really smart, savvy approach to accomplishing this. And there's a lot to unpack here. There's a lot of things this bill does. We've been talking for years about the revenue from the gas tax in terms of having enough money to maintain and build roads in Mississippi, and this is, again, a measured, phased-in approach of raising that revenue, and it provides additional funds that are just sorely needed. The grocery tax, dropping it from 7% to 5%. We've been writing about and discussing the grocery tax in Mississippi for, at least 25 years. And that is addressed in this. So you're getting road and bridge revenue. You're getting some relief on the grocery tax, which gets into regressive and progressive taxes. And then, the main goal of this is eventually eliminating what the governor and Speaker White have called the tax on work, the income tax. And so this has a path to full elimination of that. It also provides the ability to tap the brakes if the cuts were to be put in kind of willy-nilly. It gives us a chance to see what President Trump and Elon Musk and others are going to do that will impact federal funds coming to Mississippi. So I give this bill good reviews in that it's a measured way to accomplish what the majority in the legislature want to accomplish, and it addresses some critical needs in Mississippi at this point that have sort of been on the playing field for a long time with not much progress.
Well, it's interesting to me, and a lot of times we build things up because it feels like it just finally came together all at once, just in one day after months of wrangling. But that's kind of the way the political process works a lot of times, isn't it?
It is, and again, the House and the Senate, the majorities in both chambers are playing for the same team. They didn't disagree over the ultimate policy. They agreed on the schedule of it and the guardrails and the ability to tap the brakes. And so, this is a victory for Mississippi Republicans who have sought this for a long time. And, of course, it's delivered in such a way that even the Democratic opposition would basically say, if you're going to do this, this is the better of the options to implement this. So, like I said, I think it's a win-win for all of us in that we can do this in a measured and methodical way that gives us a chance to pause if we need to and take in the realities of the economy and of our relationship with the federal government.
Now, I know that first 25%, correct me if I'm wrong here, this goes into effect July 1st, but that first 25% reduction, does that go in starting July 1st or is it next year?
I actually think it's next year, but again, I want to see the final version of the bill, which has yet to surface. I don't think much is going to change in this, but I wouldn't venture a firm statement on that till I see the final version.
That's what has seemingly been indicated as we have gotten down to the last part of this. And I think you're exactly right. There was some debate yesterday about how Governor Reeves would deal with this in terms of signing it, just letting it pass into law without his signature. That tweet he sent out last night tells me he's going to sign it when it hits his desk.
Well, that was, of course, my interpretation of that. And, one of the things that people in public office, there's a tendency to push your advantage as far as you can, but I think Governor Reeves has a bill in front of him that accomplishes a signature goal of his 2 terms, and I would really be surprised if he did not just let it become law, but become law with his signature.
Well, I would think at this point we have worked so long and so hard, and there's been so much effort put into this. I think you kind of want your name on it, don't you?
That would be my impression. Yes, absolutely.
100%. The big question now is, if we do in fact have this settled and this is done and this is getting signed and going into law, what in the heck are we going to talk about in the legislature? That's been the conversation all year.
There are always vexing problems confronting the legislature, and they'll move on from this one to the next one. But I do think that this has been the driver of almost all conversations, and the settling of this question has been somewhat of an impediment to other issues. And so I think this kind of clears the deck for moving on to different problems. And so a lot can happen in the last 2 weeks, 10 days of the session. And it also reduces the length of the shadow hanging over the question of whether we're moving to a special session. I wanted to also mention that this...
Well, can you hang on through the break?
Sure.
Fantastic. Sid Salter will take up more of his valuable time when we return and get the rest of the good stuff in here on Mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi. Keep it here. Mornings on a Friday morning, SuperTalk Mississippi. Dave Hughes here. Sid Salter with us, and I'm sorry, Sid, I had to cut you off because we were up against the break and didn't have a choice. I know you know how that works, but continue with what else you had to mention there.
One aspect of this legislation that I think is very important and is a win not only for both houses of the legislature, but certainly for the taxpayers and for the state employees that are in the public employees retirement system. This bill creates a new Tier 5 for all new state employees beginning March the 1st and of next year. It addresses the almost $27 billion unfunded liability in the PERS system and provides some stability. It prevents further growth in liabilities, and the current enrollees, those who are in the system prior to this date, will continue to receive the benefits they were promised, including the 13th check. And then moving forward, the new employees will know what their system is, and it circumvents what has been a growing concern in state government, that if the unfunded liability continued to grow, it would at some point become untenable. So this was a very important part of this legislation as well. And when you look back over the bill, taxpayers ought to be saving somewhere around $128 million in grocery tax savings. They should be getting $215 million in infrastructure funding for roads and bridges. It also keeps Mississippi's gas tax in comparison with the rest of the country very reasonable. We're not to the high end of that, and there simply just aren't very many options for highway money in Mississippi without going there. The influx of electric cars and the difference in that system makes it almost a foregone conclusion that that's the only spot the legislature could go. And in settling the bill, there was a sales tax increase in House Bill 1, and that didn't appear in the final version, but there are some additional pieces of legislation out there that will provide some other funding improvements. It adjusts the state's rainy day fund up 2% from 10% to 12%, and then increases it again in the year 2030 to 13%, which is basically a savings account for the taxpayers. They put money aside for the proverbial rainy day, and of course in government it's raining almost every day, and so having that additional savings is very fiscally responsible for the state of Mississippi. So overall, it's hard to look at this plan and not feel like pretty good day's work when the negotiators from the House and Senate were able to get together on this.
Let's change topics just a bit because I don't want to run out of time before we talk about this. A little bit of a home business for you. State Board of Education recently made a recommendation about the Mississippi School for Mathematics and Science, and that's some good news for Mississippi State, isn't it?
It is, and the university is very pleased that the State Board of Education saw the merit in the proposal we submitted at the request of the State Board. And, of course, there's some additional business to be done in terms of the legislature funding that move. But we are very pleased that the State Board did see the obvious merit in our proposal. We and of course we didn't seek this out. This was a move that I think germinated in the legislature for a couple of years, and then the State Board took it up. But we do feel that Mississippi State University, the state's leading research university, and a place that offers advanced degrees in science and mathematics, is a great place for this facility to be housed, and that we can offer MS students just outstanding experience here on our campus. So we are excited about it, and we're watching as the other side of the story develops in the legislature. But we're cautiously optimistic that this is going to happen, and that we've got a really great challenge for our campus to make these students feel as welcome as the partnership school students that we're already taking care of. We have a middle school that is really a jewel and is sort of the school of the future already on campus. We're already taking care of those students and providing them a great experience along with the local school district here, the October-Starkville Public Schools. So, yeah, we are excited, and we're looking forward to moving forward.
Now, how long will this process take? Let's say, and of course the legislative process, the funding process, is going to take whatever time it takes. Let's just put it like that. Once we get past that point, what's the timeline? How long will it take to execute this move and get this facility and these students officially relocated completely to Mississippi State? Do we know?
At this point, I really think that that's a decision for the legislature based on their funding timeline and additional guidance from the State Board. But the approval, the recommendation based on the RFP would move that along as soon as the funding can be secured. So I would not be comfortable, second guessing the legislature on this, but it's a move that we think puts a great facility in a great venue.
Well, and it's really matching up the goals of both the School for Mathematics and Science and Mississippi State. It's a merging of two like things going in the same direction. So it seems, from the outside looking in, seems like a fantastic idea to me.
We believe so, and we're really excited about the opportunity we have to embrace these students. And again, we've got some experiences here that we think they and their parents will really be excited about. So this has been a good week.
A lot of stuff, and this, talking about the funding, it's the same thing that we saw, I believe, with the tax reform legislation. There's discussion, and it's going, and you wonder when it's going to happen, and then all at once it'll happen. That, again, is kind of how things work, isn't it?
It is, and, we're obviously very grateful to the members of the State Board of Education and Dr. Lance Evans for they were really helpful to us in navigating the RFP process and being able to put our best foot forward in that proposal. A lot of credit, obviously, to Dr. Mark Keenum, our president, and to our provost, Dr. David Shaw, and others who were intimately involved with that proposal. But we're really excited about it. Really excited.
Well, Sid, before you go, I just have to say, I know that you live and breathe politics. You love this stuff. Do you ever wish you could just, at this point, have one day where there wasn't just major explosions across the board in terms of politics? It seems like every day is an event.
Well, I guess some days it's easy to think that, and then I watch Dr. Keenum navigate his daily waters, and I realize, I'm in good shape. But it has been an interesting year, federal level, state level, and we have some local issues as well. So always fun, and always appreciate an opportunity to talk with the SuperTalk audience.
Anytime you have the time, we'd love to have you. Sid Salter, Vice President for Strategic Communication and the Director of Public Affairs at Mississippi State University. Always welcome through our doors. The final segment of the 7 o'clock hour of mornings on SuperTalk right after this.